Welcome to SandCity Sports. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King, and we're back again to bring you all the sports and current events news stories that you need to know. Let's get it started. Folks, first off, I have to say it has been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope show to step to, step to, step to, step to, step to, step to. Folks, it has been over a month since our last episode. I apologize for that inconsistency, and we are going to do our best to make sure that type of gap in between episodes doesn't happen again. That said, 'tis the season. I want to wish everyone out there happy holidays, and we're going to get started by taking a look at the NBA action that took place on Christmas Day. Games kicked off in the Big Apple with the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the New York Knicks, where Giannis Antetokounmpo's shine showed out and made another MVP statement in his first ever Christmas Day game. The young man had 30 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 assists in only 35 minutes of action as the Bucks defeated the Knicks 109-95. In a game that featured two well-coached teams that are nonetheless moving in opposite directions. As the Milwaukee Bucks continue their ascent to the top of the Eastern Conference standings with a record of 23-10, while the New York Knicks continue to plummet to the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings and the top of the lottery board with a record of 9-26, still having the talent to be competitive even with their best player currently out, yet unable to put together winning efforts on a night in and night out basis. The next game took us to Boston as the Celtics hosted the Philadelphia 76ers in a game that included some Christmas Day tradition that I want to get into before we take a look at the results. You see, folks, today, playing on Christmas Day is viewed as a privilege and honor by NBA players. But when Christmas Day games began to be scheduled annually in the 80s under the leadership of David Stern, many NBA players took offense at the idea of having to work on Christmas Day. And on Christmas Day in 1985, Kevin McHale stayed home to open gifts with his kids before getting in his car and driving from Boston to New York and showing up late for the marquee matchup between the Knicks and Celtics. The Celtics would go on to lose that game with McHale and another player named Larry Joe Bird shooting combined 15 for 48 from the field. And the event would actually serve as a lightning rod as the Celtics would go on to win 20 of their next 22 games before capturing the 1985-86 NBA championship and being considered one of the greatest teams in NBA history. Flashing back to 2018 from the year 1985, there was another good game between the Celtics and the Knicks on Christmas Day that went to overtime, as the Celtics outlasted the Philadelphia 76ers 121-114, behind 40 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists from Kyrie Irving, 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists from Marcus Morris, and 23 points and 10 boards from Jason Tatum. While on the Philadelphia side, Joel Embiid had a monster game with 34 points, 16 rebounds, and 2 assists, to go along with Jimmy Butler's 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, and Ben Simmons' 11 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists. In the third game, the Houston Rockets defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder 113-109, as James Harden scored 41 points to go along with 6 rebounds and 7 assists. And the Houston Rockets continued their climb back into the Western Conference playoff picture with a record of 18-15. Oklahoma City was led by Paul George with 28 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 assists, while Russell Westbrook had 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, while shooting 6 for 20 from the floor with 6 turnovers. The Christmas Day action moved to the Golden State next, as Los Angeles Lakers took on the Golden State Warriors in a game with an injury that you might have heard about. Yes, the Los Angeles Lakers were only up 2 points when LeBron James went down in the third quarter with a groin injury. And you, me, and every other basketball fan watching that game at that point in time believed the ball game was over and the Golden State Warriors were going to win convincingly. Well, as you and I both know, one team did win convincingly, as the Lakers defeated the Golden State Warriors 127 to 101 behind 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists from Ivica Zubac. That's right, folks. LeBron had 17 points and Ivica had 18. While Rajon Rondo dictated the pace and tenor of the second half, coming through with 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists. And Lance "Make 'em Dance" Stevenson came through with the energy and swagger that couldn't be matched, chalking up 11 points and 1 rebound in 11 minutes. Golden State was led by Andre Iguodala with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, with Kevin Durant being the only other scorer with 20 or more points, with 21. And in the final game on Christmas Day, which ended in the early morning hours of December 26th, the Utah Jazz defeated the Portland Trailblazers 117 to 96. In a game in which 7 Jazz players scored in double figures, led by Donovan Mitchell with 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, and Rudy Gobert with 18 points and 14 rebounds. The Portland Trailblazers were led by Damian Lillard with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, with no other player scoring more than 12 points. Taking a look at the NBA landscape, 13 of the 15 teams in the Western Conference remain solidly in the playoff hunt. And based on what happened on Christmas Day, never mind the fact that the 8th seed in the West is only 1 game behind the number 1 seed, I have to go on record in saying that the Golden State Warriors are not even going to make it to the NBA Finals this year. In my view, 11 of the other 12 teams in the Western Conference playoff hunt are capable of beating the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series. The only team that I'll exclude from that list is the Sacramento Kings, reason being their youth and absolute lack of any playoff experience. But that aside, the Timberwolves, Jazz, Mavericks, and Grizzlies, who are all no more than 5 games out of the playoff race, can beat this version of the Golden State Warriors. Not to mention the Spurs, Rockets, Trailblazers, Clippers, Lakers, Thunder, and Denver Nuggets, all who find themselves in the playoffs as of today. Point blank period, the Golden State Warriors do not have the eye of the tiger this year. And DeMarcus Cousins' return will do nothing to bridge that energy and aggravation gap between the oh-so-rich Golden State Warriors and the oh-so-destitute everybody else. Folks, it's been 4 years since another team has represented the Western Conference in the NBA Finals, and 8 seasons since an Eastern Conference team without LeBron James as its marquee player has played basketball in the NBA in late June. I happen to be a history teacher, and as we know, history tends to repeat itself. And the Golden State Warriors are walking down that road that a legendary band of the previous century once did. That road where in the beginning it was all about your artwork, all about your craft. But somewhere along the way it became less about the creative process and more about other things. Therefore, the Golden State Warriors will not be winning the NBA Finals and or representing the Western Conference in said competition. In the East, 10 of the 15 teams are in the playoff hunt, but it's really a much different perspective than in the West, based on the fact that you have 4 teams that have yet to win 10 games after 35 nights of NBA competition. Which is why the Eastern Conference has to be considered the weaker division, if not the minor leagues, as only 4 of the 15 teams are considered to be championship contenders by many, while the Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, New York Knicks, and Cleveland Cavaliers may not win 20 ball games all season. Case in point, the Toronto Raptors, Milwaukee Bucks, Indiana Pacers, Philadelphia 76ers, and Boston Celtics are teams deserving of universal respect by basketball fans, while every other Eastern Conference team can only be respected if you have a non-injured fantasy player currently suiting up for their team. Kicking it over to the world of football, the playoff picture is just about set, as the Chiefs, Patriots, Texans, and Chargers will be moving on to the lightning round in the AFC, along with the Saints, Rams, Bears, Cowboys, and Seahawks in the NFC. That leaves the Colts, Ravens, and Vikings with must-win games going into the weekend, with the Titans, Steelers, and Eagles lurking just one step behind them. For my money, I'd like to see the Eagles get into the dance in the NFC, only to witness if a backup quarterback could make a deep playoff run in 2 consecutive seasons. And I'm intrigued to see if the Steelers will miss the playoffs for the first time in the Mike Tomlin era, as he is the youngest coach in NFL history to win a Super Bowl, or the Colts and the Ravens can remain in the playoffs with two rosters that most in the NFL were not impressed with. And now for the conference leaders, I don't believe there's any clear favorite in the AFC or NFC, as neither the Chiefs, Patriots, Saints, and Rams have had an impressive victory in weeks. That said, my picks to make it to the Super Bowl are the San Diego Chargers and Chicago Bears. Two teams that are out of the limelight with leaders who were slept on with a chip on their shoulder and everything to prove. Now, folks, I'm a basketball person, so you might not want to quote and or put any wagers down on those predictions. But as has been said in this program before, a main reason why the NFL is the most profitable sports league in the world by far is because most seasons, a majority of the 32 teams that are in the league have a legitimate chance of bringing home the Lombardi Trophy. Folks, that's going to do it. Go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe as you feel the need. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. We want to thank you for tuning in to SandCity Sports, and we will see you here back again the next time.
Yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number's pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to retake ourselves. So yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number's pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to embrace ourselves. Yeah.